are not prepared to sign any agreement unless the union is involved and unless the union says to us, this is a very good agreement as it relates to benefiting not only us, but also the company. We are here this morning because the management has decided to cut the salary of a section of staff for the second time in a 2-year period. Now, to break that down, during the COVID pandemic, the VSOs, which is the visitor service officers, were asked to work a flat 12 hours. Otherwise, from that, they were contracted to work 8 hours regular, 4 hours overtime. During the pandemic, it was understood that we are going through a pandemic, so management had some struggles, understandable. However, they could not give us a commitment as it relates to when we will go back to the 8 and 4 if and when the pandemic was lifted. So some members of staff did not sign the agreement that was written up by management to go to the flat 12 hours. Now we got the union involved based on the fact that we knew what was going to happen. Now when the union came in, we were in discussion with management as it relates to the 8 and 4 for a period of time. We have seen no push from management to resolve the 8 and 4 issue. So the union wrote to the ministry and copied the management of the company as it relates to dealing with the 8 and 4 and threatening some level of industrial action. What management did was management decided to go ahead and introduce now an 8-hour shift, which would now result in another cut in the wages of the VSO at the current hourly rate that we are being paid. Now, what the VSOs did is that we went, and the members of the garden staff went on a 2-day stick-out. That go slow. That was last week. Based on that go slow, management wrote to the ministry, and the ministry intervened in the matter and requested a meeting, which was on Friday the 13th. They sent 2 representatives from the management team. We sent 2 union delegates along with the union officers to the meeting. Coming out of that meeting, the ministry pointed out to them that introducing an 8-hour shift unilaterally without the consultation of the union was illegal. So therefore, what they requested was that based on the fact that we were in negotiations, go back to the flat 12 hour, work out your thing until November. If you do not conclude by November, then you can bring it back to the ministry and we'll deal with it back. So that was what was coming out of the meeting. Their side of the management team agreed, our side agreed.
To go back to the 12 hour.
To go back to the flat 12 hour. However, management says that they are not satisfied with the ministry's request to go back to the flat 12 unless the union and the members sign an agreement for the flat 12, to which the union flatly disagreed. Because if the ministry tells us to go back to flat 12 and continue the negotiation, that simply means we don't have to come, and we decide to comply. Why would we, after coming out of that meeting, try to do anything otherwise? Because the ministry is the one that guides us. Okay, so they decided now to go to the 8-hour shift. After they decided now to go back to the flat 12, we decided that we're not signing the agreement. They decided that therefore they are going to still instill the 8-hour shift. But therefore, as required, we are going to demonstrate. We are not going to take a second pay cut in a 2-year span. Not in this style of economy that we are doing. People are already suffering with the 1 pay cut. We are already suffering because people live according to their budget. And when you were getting 8 and 4 before, you go to a flat 12. You can imagine how much that impact on your budget. And then you're going to ask us now to go to a flat 8 hour.
Roughly how many workers are being affected by it?
Alright, roughly about 17 workers have been affected, but over the COVID period, based on the fact that all members of staff were asked to take a pay cut, all members of staff have been affected.
This strike action today, what services will be affected?
Well, the services that will be affected is that no visitors, as it relates to collection, right there, as it relates to the general cleanup and maintenance of the garden, as it relates to persons visiting certain areas of the garden, like the Chinese garden where one of our workers actually works around here as a tour guide. So a lot of areas will be affected as it relates to the strike.
You guys are not prepared to sign.
We are not prepared to sign any agreement unless the union is involved and unless the union says to us, this is a very good agreement as it relates to benefiting not only us but also the company. But we are not making demands higher than what we deserve. All we're asking for is just our salary that we used to get. And we're still taking a cut. Because if we go to the flexi work week, we'll only be working the same flat 12 hours. So it's still a cut. But we are okay to work it as long as we get back our money from when our pay was cut at the end of COVID up until this period.
Because to pay at the rate
we are.
For BSOs cannot do another. Even if they want to, they cannot do another job because it's a 12-hour shift. So we are here from 6 until 6 in the afternoon. So therefore, we can't do anything else. And if you're paying us on an hourly basis, for 8 plus 4, you take away the 4. Right? And you give us flat 12. Now you're taking away the other 12, you're still taking away 4, so therefore you're subtracting 16 altogether. And give us 8. So what is 8? I mean, if you're getting $200 an hour, 3/8 for 40 hours for the week, how much is that? For the 8 hours, what's your pay package? After deductions and everything, you're going on with nothing. You have rent to pay, you have light bill, you have kids to go to school, you have other things to do, because you have to come back to work. Taxi fare raised basically every day. Because from here to Alpha Tree, it's almost $200, $180, and there are times when you have to pay even $250 to go to Alpha Tree. And when you reach to Alpha Tree, to take another vehicle to where you're going. Some people have to take 3 vehicles.
All right.